Good morning, gorgeous. It is beautiful to see you. I'm taking a break from all the beauty in the back garden, and yes, it is lovely. It's time I showed you the front properly, so let's start. It's had some changes here. So we have the first cineraria, which I do believe I showed you before. It's been flowering for a little while. And next to it, we have some little roses that I've moved in here. They're miniatures. And I shifted them from somewhere else. Good morning, Heather. So they up stakes and moved, and they didn't even blink because you can shift roses in winter and they don't notice. Well, the beginning of spring. Here is the crazy sedum, and it's huge and fabulous. Good morning, Linda. So, we'll get up close so you can see these amazing flower spikes and the detail in them. There you go. It's just gorgeous. You did make it, Nora. Woohoo! You so did. So there are the flowers, and you can see here the Spiraxis bed, right? It's going to be pretty amazing. You can just see the first buds starting, but the whole thing will cover itself. And those tall leaves sticking up is some iris that I haven't seen flower for more than a decade. I'm hoping that they might flower this year because I've finally got them in the right spot. And here, there's always some early starters. The very first, in fact, it's been out for a couple of days, so it's a bit old. But there's the very first Spiraxis flower that opened. Let's have some focus. So you can see its detail. It should be all nice and fresh, but I missed that. This is what inspired me to come here this morning. Good morning, Annie! As the freesias are starting, you can see there's a whole lot of them, right? But they always seem to start up here. Maybe the sun hits this part first. And they're originals, these ones. They've been here for longer than I have. Enough said, they're beautiful. Later on, some of the ones that open up further down the row are slightly different because they're cross-pollinated with all sorts of things. It's quite magical. So here we have the magnolia, which is getting ready to burst into bloom. But I love the structure of the branches. I pruned it over many years to make it look like that. Good morning, Jen. Amy, good morning, honey. And you can see there are some white hyacinths here as well, though they're fighting a bit with the ground cover. I need to rescue them. I need to pull some of it away from them. And we have roses and we have lilies coming up. Finally pruned the roses because it's time. And we have here something called a dog-toothed violet. It's a very sweet little thing. Just get around the other side, show it to you. Au natural. There it is. It's just beautiful. Good morning, Julian. So this is the front garden, which is looking like it's, been winter. But the big news, well, there's two pieces of big news. The cherry tree, for those of you who know it, must be looking a bit blank. And it's because it's been pruned and it's been shaped because it was getting very top heavy and it was shading the roses, which were suffering for lack of light. And so I had an arborist here a couple of weekends ago. He's a lovely chap who really knows his trees, and you can tell he's got the resonance, the tree talks to him. And I just love the job he did. And this is the big absence. We have made space. There was a tree here and it was starting to get too close to the line and also too close to the fence, you can see. And the fence is actually valuable despite the fact that it needs maintaining. So now we have an absence, and trust me, there's stuff that's going in here. I'm just trying to work out how much I can get in here. So always when you lose something, and look, these are hyacinths of the blue colour. When you lose something, you always put something in its place. So, and look, we have a bunch of white ones as well. They're coming out early. The white ones always come out before the blue ones. So, right, that's the garden tour. Today, I want to talk about identifying hidden resistance, things we just can't figure out. Roberta, good morning. Like, why the hell do I keep doing this? Why does this keep happening to me? What is the reason why there's this repeating pattern? And I've been doing my affirmations and I've been thinking positively and I've been doing everything I know how to do to create what I want, and, lead balloon doesn't work. What the hell am I doing wrong? And it's a very, very common question. It's a very common question because we all, if you're in the space here, you're kind of interested in this stuff. There's lots of information out there. I'll just get really, be very intentional and take action and ceaseless action. Just go, try, effort, do. And you end up in a conundrum because for me, certainly that just did not work. Forget it. I did all that and it crashed and burned. So, how do you identify these conundrums, these hidden beliefs, these hidden programs? I want to call it a program actually, because that's away from that belief word that we talked about yesterday. For some people, they know exactly what that means. Oh, listen to the tui. Oh, look. There it is. See, at the top of the tree. That is the source of the song. So, really, people go to therapy, and I'm not knocking therapy. People go to therapy to try and figure out their blocks and try to work stuff out. But actually, you don't need to go to therapy to figure out what your block is. You only need to look at your life and see what it is that you have challenges with. And I'm quoting Dr. Bruce Lipton. I heard him say this many times. Because if you're having repeated, ongoing challenges with something, it means you've got a program running about that thing, which is manifesting for you moment by moment, day by day, week by week, by month by year, by lifetime. This is a problem, and this is how I'm used to doing and being this thing, and it's always a problem because I just, the less you do, the more you sit still. Totally, Linda. Faye, good morning. So, if you look at your life, and I know some of you are already there, but, some of us, we think we need to go and get our heads analysed. No, just look at your life and see what your challenges are. Those are indicators of your subconscious programs that are producing that. Because remember, what you really think and what you really feel is creating your life. End of story. That was yesterday's discussion, or the day before, whatever. So, when you are working to create change and you're wanting to manifest something different, and you do your thinking and you do your feeling and you do your thing, and it's doesn't work. God, I hope that's funny. It made me laugh. When it just, lead balloon. Whatever thoughts fly into your mind that are so normal for you that you don't normally notice them, and whatever feelings roar up inside you because you're pissed off or you're disappointed or you're betrayed again or sick again or whatever it is, those are the thoughts and the feelings that are creating this experience for you. And the reason why you haven't noticed them is because you've been doing them for a long time. Now, how do I know that you've been doing them for a long time? You're talking about something chronic, something ongoing, that something's been happening for you forever and a day. You have been manifesting that forever and a day. It's habitual. And because it's habitual, you don't even know that you're thinking and feeling this way. So when the shit comes down, or the thing doesn't manifest that you're really sure is going to, and you're doing everything right, but it still doesn't work, your reactions, your feelings, and your thoughts, this always happens to me. Again, whatever it is, life always craps on me. Life has it in for me. That was kind of me. I didn't even realise how much I thought life had it in for me, and it did. Because, clear intention, elevated emotion, life fucking has it in for me. Do you think that's going to manifest? Hell yeah. It's not fun. It's just quantum law. It's just how it works. So, and those emotions and those thoughts are not caused by your environment or your circumstances or what is happening in them. And that is a very, very big thing to bite off. For example, if you're in the middle of a place where, COVID-19 is going crazy and, the government's dealing with it, however they're dealing with it, you may or may not like it. All of that stuff, it's very, very easy to use the things that are happening around you or in you. If you have a sickness and an illness and it's scary and it's painful, oh my God, it's so easy to say, well, I'm allowed to feel like this because It's normal to feel like this because, yes, it is. It's absolutely reasonable and sensible and even justified to say, oh, well, you know, this person abused me 20 years ago and it was traumatic and it was horrible and they did go to jail. And I'm justified in feeling victimised. And you are. But if you want to manifest something other than victimisation in your life, you're going to have to let go of being victimised. You're going to have to stop telling the story. You're going to have to stop thinking those thoughts about how this always happens to me and you know, since that thing I'm too scared to, or since that thing it hurts too much, or, you know, whatever it is, or I'm sick so I can't, whatever. And there's it's such a dance between, I'm not going to go there or I'll lose my thought. We actually have to notice these things which are brought up by the very circumstances that we wish weren't there. Hi, Misty! We have to realise that our reactions and our thoughts and feelings in reaction to the quote-unquote failure, that is you, the universe, showing you, the person who's having the experience in 3D and on this planet, what it is that's limiting you. And it's very normal to say, well, these are the circumstances that are limiting me. No, they're not. It's your reaction, it's your thought, it's your feeling, and whether you continue. By the way, it's okay to react. Everybody is going to react. I react. I've told you stories about that this week. Trust me, I react every day. Yesterday afternoon, I kind of knew that I knew I didn't have enough time, and I wanted to do my yoga because I love to do my yoga. It's really good for me, and I listen to Joe and I get educated at the same time. It just works really well. But there was other stuff I needed to do. And so instead of being really conscious about it, I went into my old program about time, which is related to money and safety and a whole lot of other things. It's all the same with me now. I recognise this. And I started to push, and I started to hurry, and I started to get irritated, and I started to get frustrated. Now, I didn't get very irritated, I didn't get very frustrated. I sort of regulated that a bit. But I did get, because there was no way, actually, that I could get everything done. And I didn't do yoga yesterday. And it all worked out fine, and I won't die, and my body won't fall apart. Hi, Sapphire! All this little buzz that goes on. I thought, Maddie, and I got to the end of the thing, and I got up from my computer. I had to go out and go shopping because my husband can't drive yet because his foot's still healing. It's a lot better, but he still can't drive yet. He's starting to think about exploring that in the weekend. So I went out and did the shopping, and I was like, oh, this is easy. It's like, why was I pushing? And I thought, hang on a minute. Okay, so I was running an old program there based on there's not enough time. I can't, and if I miss out on this thing, I'm going to feel bad. All these subconscious things bubbling away. But I don't feel bad, and there is enough time, and everything's flowing. So the next time I'm faced with this sense of impending crunch and something's going to have to go, because something sometimes does have to go, and we have to get real with ourselves about that. How can I do that differently? And this is the question to ask, right? You notice these unconscious things, these subconscious reactions, thoughts, feelings, behaviours. Push, try. Oh, damn, it's not happening. I've got to try harder. My old pattern. Many of you will relate. Okay, fine. The next time I notice that, because I'm sure it's going to happen again, because I haven't overcome it yet, how can I do it better? And so I thought, well, actually, what I need to do is pull myself up, get real, and say, Maddie, look at the time, look at the things that you want to get done, and make a considered, conscious choice about what you're going to do now, instead of pushing and trying for an hour and a half and feeling more and more frustrated because you see the time slipping away and there you are in lack again, and then realising it was a complete waste of time because you knew all along it was going to be like that, but you just didn't want to accept it, right? So for me, it's actually recognising, okay, I've got to make a clear decision here instead of being in denial about it, and, tra-la-la. So sometimes it's, I was going to say it's as simple as that. Was that simple? It is for me now. It wouldn't have been a long time ago. It's just I've got the awareness and I can think about it. But the point is you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start paying attention. You've got to become aware. And once you're aware of the thoughts, the feelings, and your habitual actions that go with them, you then start to be able to make a different choice. Now, becoming aware of your subconscious programs can sometimes be like, oh my God, really? You know, it can hit you like a bolt out of the blue and you suddenly think, oh my God, I've been doing this for 45 years and now you want to change it? And there's a bit of a, oh my God, I'm standing at the bottom of freaking Mount Everest. How in the hell am I going to climb this? It's made of glass and I don't have any crampons and I certainly don't have any glass, you know, those circular things that help you can use. I need to levitate. But you have to start somewhere. And I know we talked more or less about divide and conquer not long ago. If it's huge, if you've got to eat an elephant, you're still going to have to pick up one little piece of the elephant and just start nibbling on that. You have to cut it down. If your brain goes into overwhelm, so I can't do that. Also realise that when your mind goes into overwhelm, that can actually be your body and your mind saying, I don't want to change. Elizabeth, g'day gorgeous. It can absolutely be body and mind saying, we are used to this familiar feeling. And for me, I'm used to the familiar feeling of pushing and trying to do more things in the time that's available than can actually be done. And I'm used to denying that to myself. It's familiar. I know how to do it, and that's probably why I did it yesterday. I didn't go as deep into it as I remember. I used to try so hard. My shoulders would knot up. I'd get really stressed. I'd be in fear about, who's going to be pissed off if I don't get it done. And eventually I realised there was nobody. And getting stressed wasn't helping, but I had to unwire all that stuff in my head, right? And in my mind and in my body, because remember, the body is the subconscious mind, and 95% of your total mind is in your body. And you don't have conscious control over it. Oh, yay. Hi, Gaia Man. It's so much fun when you realise this. Like, oh, shit. I only get to consciously choose 5% of my mind. That's why we have to get into the operating system. You've got to slow your brainwaves down. I just remembered I intended to talk about brainwaves today. I got about 3 minutes to do it. So, because, why did I want to say this? I'll find the thread. Because, that's why. Because these programs, these unconscious programs, most of them, I'll say most of them, get laid down in the early years of our lives. And this is not about saying we've got awful parents, by the way. Some of us do have awful parents, but most of us have parents that are doing the best they can with what they have, and actually even the awful parents are doing the best they can with what they have. It's just complete crap. So it's not about blame. When a child is born, for the first 2 years, that child's brain is in delta. Delta is the same as being asleep. That's what happens when you go to sleep. When you're in deep restorative sleep, your brain is in delta. It's a very slow rate of oscillation, and they measure it. It's like 1 to 8 cycles a second. Very slow. So children are, when they've got their eyes open, 0 to 2 years, they're asleep with their eyes open. That's why they have to sleep so much, because they're in delta. The brain is asleep. There is no conscious filter in that child's mind in those first 2 years to say when somebody says, oh, you're a nuisance, you're a pain, I'm so tired, I'm angry at you. And God, what parent doesn't get into sleep deprivation? No filter in the child's brain. And this is not to get you to freak out if you're tired and get pissed off at your child, okay? It's a sum total of things. It's what happens most often is what gets absorbed as, this is normal. And then from 2 to about 7, the child goes into theta. And theta is, I think, 8 to 11 cycles a second. And theta is hypnosis. Truly, when you're hypnotised, when you are totally suggestible, you're open to whatever comes into your awareness, it just goes straight in. So if you are hanging around with parents, for example, who are afraid of the dark, I'm just picking things out of thin air, this is not me, or I suspect I totally absorbed, you have to work really hard to survive, and there's lots of work in it that isn't particularly fun, and this is just how life is, and we have to scrimp and we have to save. I just absorbed all of that, and there was no analytical filter in my mind to ever imagine anything different than that. I was in theatre. Child gets to about 7 to 11, maybe 12, depends on the child. They're now in alpha. Alpha is the world of imagination. Alpha is when your internal experience is more real to you than your external experience, which is why, when you give them a broomstick and they're playing around the yard riding the horse, they really are riding a horse inside their mind. That's just, it's real. They're playing mud pies, but they're having a tea party. It's real. That's alpha. Now, there's more analytical mind in alpha. You have the ability to decide if you like something or not, and and whether you agree to something or not. But all of those programs, by the time you're 7, they're laden, they're automatic, and you never even consider them until you see lack and frustration and difficulty just as the recurring theme in your life. Like, I didn't. You think, where the hell did this all come from? That's where it comes from. And of course, their parents did the same thing because that was just what they had to do. So, each generation tends to improve upon the previous one because, we all sort of realise things we do and don't like, but that's how it happens. And to change it, you can't change something that's been laid in delta or theta by thinking about it. Delta or theta, it's in your body. And it's wired in your brain at that subconscious level. So you got to get into the same kind of places where the information went in to change it. And then you got to create a clear intention. You got to have, by the time you get there, a clear intention and elevated emotion. You do that, the past can be washed away in a moment. I've even experienced that. It really does happen. More often it happens incrementally, step by step, day by day. I feel myself change, which is pretty awesome. Because I remember who I used to be, but I'm not that person anymore. This is how we do it. So if the shit comes down again, hi Vicky, just remember, Tui flyby, just remember, it's showing you what it is you got to overcome. To say, no, this is my habitual state of being. My circumstances are not responsible for how I feel and how I think. I am. It's a big choice to make. You might be reversing 37 years worth of programming. But this is what we are capable of doing. It takes immense will and determination. It does get easier as you go. But it takes a lot of choices and it takes will. And when you do it, you are so pleased with yourself. You feel so good in yourself because now you know you can overcome your fear or your lack or whatever it was. And stuff just doesn't upset you like it used to. Because whatever, it's like, oh, okay, but I'm bigger than that. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Go away and play. Become conscious and make choices, different ones, and practice them. It's Friday. So there's going to be resonant replays over the weekend. And there's big changes coming up for me. I'll announce it next week. No, I'm not going anywhere. Don't panic. It's just exciting stuff is shifting. There's a reason why there's been big changes in my garden. They always go with big changes in me. Watch out. I'll tell you. It's exciting. Big love. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.